Picklers, Tony coming to you today from Clearwater. I want to continue down the path, Project 4.0 path with you. Actually, we're going to go to the very beginning of that path right now, and what we're going to talk about is foundation. We're going to literally start where your body meets the court with your feet. We're going to talk about footwork. We're going to start talking about where you stand at the beginning of the point, both on serve and return. We're going to talk about how you move during the point. We're going to talk about how you track the ball, how you move laterally. We're going to do everything that has to do with motion in this first part. The reason is you could have a beautiful stroke. You could have a fantastic forehand. You could have a beautiful backhand dink shot. But if you're not in the right place, it doesn't matter. Your stroke is wasted if your body is not in the right place at the time you execute the stroke. So we're going to start with the feet, and then we're going to work our way up through the foundation, through our core, and then we're going to work on the different strokes. So what we're going to work on in this video in particular is we're going to work on where to begin the point, both on serve and on return, so that you know where to begin the point and can maximize your chances of winning each point. So let's get into it. Being in the right spot on a serve and return is critical to success in a point. And it's really the only time during a point that I have complete control over where I stand. During the point, a lot of times we'll be moved to the left or moved to the right by someone's shot. We'll be pushed off the line, things like that. During the serve and return, nothing's going on yet. So I have every opportunity to stand in the best spot possible prior to the beginning of the point. A lot of times in play, you'll see players stand basically right behind the baseline on a return of serve. Here the baseline is this blue line, not the white line, that's a tennis line. A lot of times people will simply stand right behind the baseline and get ready to return serve. If you want to get better, you really need to think about your placement on the return of serve a little bit deeper. What you need to do is you need to think about where you want to stand depending on the type of player you're playing, the conditions that you're playing in, and whether you want to hit the ball on your forehand side or your backhand side. And the idea is to put yourself in the best possible position given wind conditions, given the type of server you're facing, and given the type of shot that you'd like to hit. First thing I want to think about is the type of server that I'm facing. If I'm facing somebody who serves the ball deep or serves the ball hard into the court back in here, then I probably want to take a step back, sometimes even 2 steps back. The reason I want to do that is because I don't want the ball to get up on me before I have a chance to hit it. In other words, I don't want the ball to rush into me as I'm trying to hit that ball. I want the ball to apex some. In other words, I want the ball to set up a little bit for me before I have to make contact with it, as opposed to simply rushing into my paddle. I'm playing against a player that doesn't serve hard or serves the ball short, then perhaps I do want to stand closer to the line. So maybe about 6 inches off the line would be good. And then what happens is as the ball comes in, I can take a step forward and execute my shot. What I don't want to have happen is I don't want that ball to rush into my body. I want that ball to set up, to allow me to execute my shot so I can control the direction and depth of my ball. Let's talk about wind conditions. Let's assume it's a windy day and the wind is coming towards me, so it's into my face. That means the balls are going to travel deeper. In that case, I want to make an adjustment and stand further back. So if I'm playing a neutral server, so a server where I can stand 6 inches behind the baseline and it's a windy day in my face, then I probably want to step back another 2.5 feet or so. Now if I'm playing somebody who serves hard and high and it's a windy day, I may even step back further and go about 4 feet back even. The idea is to be able to get the ball after it peaks, and then I can execute my shot. Now let's take a day where the wind is coming behind me, and so the balls are going to go shorter, and now I have to move myself forward when I'm returning serve. So what will happen there is, let's say I was going to return the serve here because of the type of server I'm facing, but the wind is behind me and it's affecting the ball, I might take a step forward. If I'm receiving a serve from someone who serves short or doesn't serve hard, then what I may actually step into the court a little bit, not to get short, not to get that ball short, and I can reach the ball before hitting it. Let's talk a little bit about lateral position on the return of serve. So here what I want to do is, if I stand here basically, I'm in a neutral position, meaning some serves, 50% of the serves may come to my forehand, 50% of the serves may come to my backhand. So if I don't care which side I'm hitting with, then I can stand here and this is perfectly fine. If I like my forehand better, then if you're right-handed, then you would stand closer to the middle line on this side, and closer to the out of bounds line on that side. The idea being you want to expose more of your forehand. If you're a player that likes your backhand more, like racquetball players often do, then you would stand further on this side here if you're right-handed, and then closer to the middle line on the left side in order to expose your backhand. The left-hand side is the same thing, just opposite. So if I wanted to get more forehands, I would stand further here. If I wanted to get more backhands, I would stand closer to here so that I could expose more of my backhand to the court. I prefer my forehand return normally, so I will normally stand somewhere around here to receive serve. Standing here for my game allows me to receive more serves with my forehand and to control the point. So what I'll do is I will step, I will hit my forehand, and then I can use my body weight to get up to the no volley zone. Let's look now at where you stand during the serve. So during the serve, obviously you have to stand behind the baseline. Again, here's the blue line on this court. So you have to stand behind the baseline. If you step into the baseline, on the baseline or inside the court before you hit the ball, you've committed a fault. So the rule is you have to be behind the baseline. You also have to be within these two sides. So you need to be within the out of bounds and the mid-court line. So you cannot serve from outside this line here, and you cannot serve from the other side of the middle line. You need to be in between the two and behind this line in order to commence your serve. Let's talk a little bit about positioning on the serve. Some of the concepts that we talk about on the returner serve are going to be similar to the serve. You can exercise some control over which side you're going to hit, the forehand or the backhand, by where you stand on your serve. So if you stand here as a right-hander, you're going to be exposing more of your backhand, which is fine if you like your backhand shot. If you like your forehand shot, you can stand over here a little more. And if you're not really sure, or you don't really, not that you don't care, but you're neutral about it, then you can stand in a more neutral position to execute your serve. Some people move around the service line to affect where they're going to end up serving the ball, where the serve is going to land. I don't recommend doing that. I think you can do that more with just simply a little bit of an adjustment with your body in order to execute the serve where you want it to go. As opposed to simply moving all the way around on the service line to execute a different shot. What I suggest you do is find a spot that you're comfortable in and then execute your serves from that position. That'll give you consistency in terms of getting the same serve over and over again. As you'll see when we get to the actual serve lesson, the serve at the 4.0 level is simply a matter of getting it in relatively deep, and that's it. You're not trying to hit trick serves, you're not trying to hit angle serves and things like that. To be a benchmark 4.0 player, you're just trying to get your serve deep and never miss a serve. The next few times you play, pay particular attention to where you're standing on the serve and the returner serve. On the serve, make sure you're standing left to right in a position that gives you the best advantage to hit the next shot, so either your forehand or your backhand. And more importantly, in the returner serve, make sure that you're standing in the right position both front to back and left to right to maximize your chances of winning the point. Give it a try. A quick tip for you singles players out there, the serve position for a singles player is critical. For serving in singles, you want to stand as close to this midline as possible because you have to cover the entire court. If you serve from here, let's say, because you want to expose your backhand, because you like your backhand, you leave too much court over there to cover. So on both sides, you want to serve, if you're playing singles, you want to serve as close to this line as possible on this side or on the other side, so that you can then cover as much court as possible after your serve.